Brooke?
Hey Al, how are you?
I'm fine. How you doing?
Good. I like your purple. Wait a minute now.
I didn't upgrade it since the last time.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, that represents royalty.
yes. I think you were
Yeah,
sitting on your couch last time.
I
Here's the
know. Yeah,
purple
we didn't we
background.
didn't we didn't made a few modifications since the last time.
Yes.
Yeah,
Got
I'm
your
glad.
microphone right?
Yeah. Thank you. And guess what I found? Or
What?
order?
Oh, yes, the
Yeah.
five love
Uh-huh.
languages. Yeah.
So next time you see me, I'm gonna have a little bookshelf behind with the book up here and a couple of the items and stuff. So yeah, we're just, making a little bit more aesthetically pleasing to the eye.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice,
thank you, thank you,
nice.
thank you.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to another episode of Black Marriage Chronicles. We're doing a special edition today. We're doing the therapist take. That's what I'm calling this. We don't have any guests today,
Mm.
but I did managed to have some guests last week. Unfortunately, yourself or the other therapists weren't able to come on, but we did have a really in-depth conversation. So I really wanted to touch base with you to kind of get your take on. There was a couple subjects that were brought up during the course of our conversation that I just want to kind of get some feedback from you on. If you can kind of help maybe put it into context for our
Okay.
audience, in case anybody out there may be dealing with something similar.
Okay.
um, it was the Williams, Otis and Kim Williams, and she mentioned they've been married 28 years, but she mentioned I think they weren't even married 5 years, but she up and left Detroit. They moved to North Carolina.
Mhm.
And all within that year, she left her support system.
Mhm.
Not only did she leave her support system, her mom ended up passing away. So there was a lot, because I asked them, one of my questions to them, what was the most during their 28-year marriage, what year was the most difficult? And they pointed to that year. It was just a
Okay.
lot of stuff going on. She, like I said, they were less than 5 years married, might have even been less than that. Left her support system. She was born and raised in Detroit, left and went to North Carolina because her husband found a much better job. So
Mhm.
she said, "Hey, I'm following my husband." Left,
Absolutely.
wasn't working, and then during that time, her mom was not only sick, but then she ended up passing away. So, um, if you wouldn't mind, just kind of like, how does that? Because they were having a lot of issues. So just tell us how that may have impacted the marriage, but also how do you counsel people like that? What do you tell them to do? What's the first thing they should do?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is that the theme is loss, right? So
Mm-hmm.
even when we talk about up and upending our lives and moving from one location to another, that represents a loss in your system in general. And
Didn't
then it
think about
also
that.
is a loss for the marriage because you said that they had a support system where they were, and then they moved to someplace very unfamiliar. Did he have roots in, you said
No, he
Carolina?
went there for employment. Yeah.
Yeah, so it sounds like once they moved for employment, they were it. They
Mm.
were the nucleus of the nucleus and the external of
Okay.
what they were dealing with, right? So
Uh-huh.
they needed to rebuild community around them. We
Mm.
as people, we are meant to be alone in solitude. We're meant to connect with other human beings and
Mm-hmm.
other living beings. So when I
Mm-hmm.
say living beings, some people use their plants, some people use their pets, some
Mm-hmm.
people use, um, oh gosh, gardening, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's connecting still with something that is alive, right? But
Mm-hmm.
we always want to connect.
Okay.
And so that's one thing that they could have done was to um, they have to figure out what their community is going to be like, where they're moving to.
Okay.
What kind of supports do they need? It
Mm-hmm.
would be good for them to have a conversation between the two of them and just figure out, do an inventory of what is it that we think we need. Did they have children?
They do. Yeah, they had a son. Yep.
They had a
That was
son at the
one.
time
Yep.
that they
And he had
moved.
yep. And it was hard for him as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so it loss and new beginnings for everyone,
Okay.
right? So it's a matter of trying to rebuild that community around yourself. And when I talk about nature and gardening, that's like very grounding. When
Okay.
we get outside and we are outside in nature, it's just very relaxing typically for the majority of us.
Okay.
So finding those kinds of spaces where you are, also recognizing what it is that what you find joy in.
Mm-hmm.
So if, say for instance, one of them really like to work out, then you would want to go and find a space where you could work out and perhaps build some new friendships and some new connections through those things that you love.
Okay.
If someone likes to read, then perhaps a book club.
Okay.
But the great thing about today is, and us having gone through the pandemic, we realize that we can connect without being in person.
Yeah.
So we connect through the same way that we're talking right now.
Mm-hmm.
People have kept those connections alive through this medium or through other electronic mediums.
I do want to ask this question because, and not that I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but to me, while I do get what you're saying that the pandemic taught us that we can still connect like this, but
Mm-hmm.
for me, I feel like at least in my opinion, social media, this type of connection, to me, has made us less sociable as people.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, so you do agree? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I do agree. We don't know how necessarily to be in person. See, but this is one way that you and I are connecting. I'm still looking at you. You're still looking at me.
Mm-hmm.
This is a lot better connection than through
Text.
social media apps like Facebook
Yeah.
or texting, right? You sit
Mm-hmm.
and you think you're looking at somebody's life through Facebook when really you're not. You're only looking
Right.
at what it is that they choose to show you in their
Mm-hmm.
life, right? So you're sitting at home thinking, oh, all of these things that I want because all these things that other people have that they're posting, when you don't get the backstory of how it got to be that way, or even if it's true.
Right. Right. That part.
Right. That part, even if what they're posting is even real, right?
Right.
So
Exactly.
yeah, but through text messaging is one of the ones that you said. That's a very difficult medium to remain deeply connected because we can read a text in six different ways and have six different meanings and miss the real intent of the connection
Mm-hmm.
or of the communication altogether.
Yeah, absolutely,
So,
absolutely. Well, one of the things that the couple said, because they were, I mean, she said they were really having a tough go of it this year. Like I said, she lost her mom, trying to get their son adjusted to his
mm-hmm,
school. I think he was really young. I want to say he might have not even been in third. He might have not even made it to the third grade yet. He was really young when they left. Um, but they did manage to they went to church and they were able to
mm-hmm,
find one of the elders at the church was doing something similar to what I'm doing, having
mm-hmm,
couples, and they had other couples that were having issues, not necessarily because they relocated, but just having issues, period. And they were able to reconnect through the church. So tell us how
mm-hmm.
is that a definite way in order to, kind of get grounded and kind of rediscover yourself in situations like that?
Yeah, if religion is something that you've used where you lived prior,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely you would want to find a church home where you move to because that is very grounding. Typically, if you are in a church community, especially one that's not the mega churches,
Yeah,
because a lot of times those mega churches they don't
you get
know you,
lost.
you get lost, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you find a medium to a small size church, a lot of times you're going to find some connection
Mm-hmm.
through your religion. So it's finding things that you have in common with people is the theme, right?
Yeah.
So if you like reading, then you go to the bookstore and you find meetups that are related to things that you like to do. If skateboarding is your thing, then go to the skate park because you're going to find
Mm-hmm.
people there who like to skate. If walking is your thing, then find walking trails where other people walk, and you'll find like-minded people there sometimes.
Yeah.
And you
So it
can
sounds
build
like what you're
connections.
saying is that whatever it is, your thing that you may have had when you were with your support system, whatever that is, find that. And then in that, you'll find community. You'll find like-minded people. And then, of course, you
Absolutely.
may even be able to find someone, maybe to bring your spouse along, say, hey, I found some friends. Now we can
Mm-hmm.
commune with these people and start to build a support, even if you don't have a quote unquote support system, but at least you got a community of people that you can relate to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what you said is the spouse that they it sounds like they jointly found one
They did.
through
They
the
did.
church, right? They
Mm-hmm.
found something that they both could participate in with other couples. And I think that's important to find if you are coupled, and of course we're talking about
Yeah.
marriages here,
Right.
find other couples who are hopefully well, I like to be in the middle of whatever it is that I'm doing, meaning I don't
Okay.
want to be the oldest and I don't want to be the youngest. I want to be able to learn
Mhm.
from people who have already gone through some things, and I also want to be a blessing to those who might not have gone through the things that I've gone through already.
Absolutely. And that's what I love about what we're doing here, this whole thing, this platform, because every time we talk to someone, I'm talking about people who've been married. We learn something from people who've been married 5 years. We learn some people who've been married 25 years. We learn something every time. And I had a couple people, like I talked to a guy today, and he was saying how his wife, he like, oh man, I'm ready, because he called me Green. He's like, Green, I'm ready to leave. I said, tell me what's going on. Like, bro, y'all been married 32 years and you just want to walk away? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
man, she this, that, and I said, have y'all talked counseling? For what? What the counselor gonna say? I said, why don't you just try it? And then I fed him the line that you gave me. You were like, hey, when you don't talk to your spouse, now you're having conversations with yourself about something that you don't even know for sure if that's where they're at. I said, you need to talk to her and find out for sure what's going on. But I'm like, you've been married 32 years and I said, why haven't you left yet then? He can't
Mm-hmm.
answer that question. Like he don't know. But I'm like, and she hasn't left. So clearly somebody's there. You there guys are there for a reason. You need to find out what that reason is. And then maybe from there you can build on it. But just to throw a 32-year marriage away. No, he's like, oh, I
Yes.
did it before, because they kind of reconnected. They were married, separated for a while, and then they got back together. But I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
you I don't know. But anyway, I was just telling them, I was like, watch my show. I said, you might be able to glean something from that, because you have like the one couple, and maybe I'll send them to this particular couple, this one particular couple. They were married. I don't know if you were on for this one, but they were married. And she was literally, they married like close to 30 something years, I think, Sonya and June. And anyway,
Right.
she was about to divorce him.
Mm-hmm.
You were there for that one?
I believe so. And then
Yeah.
he was still coming around, taking
Yeah,
care of,
yes. Okay, you
yeah,
remember, yeah.
taking care of the grass and
Uh-huh.
shoveling
Yeah, and she was
snow.
about to
Yeah.
leave, and I'm like, but they were able to just rediscover one another, and look, they're happily ever after. So maybe that's I'll direct him to that one. But I really wanted, I'm like, bro, you got 32 years in work, you got 32 years of marriage in, and you literally want to walk away. And then he was talking about he done already talked to a lawyer, finances. I said, you got a lot to lose. Like, he was like, well, she make more money than me. I said, that's because he's talking about on paper. I said, and you don't think a good attorney will find out that you make more than she? I said, I'm telling you. He was like, really? I said, I'm telling you, she gets a good attorney, especially if it's a female. She gonna do some digging. But
Well,
no, I
I
don't
think,
want.
yeah, I think the 32 years that always causes us pause, right?
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes after 30 some years, with the proper thinking through things and having talked together, sometimes it is okay to separate after a
Okay.
long period of time,
Mm-hmm.
right? But you do want to take those steps to make sure in what you're doing. Right,
Okay.
we always think the grass is going to be greener on the other side of the fence. Then you
Absolutely.
get
Yeah.
over there and be like, yeah, okay, but this is all artificial. It's artificial turf. Yes, it always looks beautiful, but it's not
Right.
real.
Right. It's not real.
Right? It's the
Exactly.
same
Yeah.
thing as
Yeah.
looking at people's lives on these social media platforms, people
Mm-hmm.
that you don't know for real.
No. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, you don't want to uh step lightly into I'm going to leave my 32 year, I'm going to leave my marriage.
Mm-hmm.
There's more to leaving a marriage than just saying, yeah, I'm unhappy this week. So marriages come with ups and downs and twists and turns, and what you
Mm-hmm.
should commit to do is loving your partner every day. You don't have to like your partner every day. You don't.
Mm-hmm.
There can be days and sometimes weeks that you just don't like your partner, and that's
Mm-hmm.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
as long as you can find what it is that you love about your
About
partner.
them. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Um, and so now what? Let's speak about the. I think that probably was the most troubling for her was the loss of her mother, and then having to
Mm-hmm.
put all those, like she literally said she had to do everything from North Carolina. Like, I mean, make the
Mm-hmm.
arrangement. Then she's the oldest of five sisters, so they bickering, and she trying to play peacemaker. Speak to when you're the oldest, and then you're the one making all the decisions, you're trying to play peacemaker, but from several hundred miles away. Like, how does that impact the marriage? How does that weigh in on the person, that individual
Mm-hmm.
themselves?
Yeah. That's interesting. You talked about her being the oldest and making all the decisions. Well, I mean, I'm the oldest of three girls, but I think that, well, and we have an older brother,
Hmm.
but I think that we've all come up and grown into adulthood to where we can each make decisions.
Okay.
So it might be her empowering her younger siblings to be more independent and their own decisions,
Okay.
and being able to talk. And it's the same way with siblings. You might not like them all the time, but you love them.
Yeah.
So because you love them, that should be enough to say, okay, well, let's just get off the phone today. But here's the agenda. Maybe as the oldest, that's what you say. This is what we need to talk through tomorrow.
Hmm.
But we do have to get this thing done. And
Yeah.
we've all agreed that this has to be done. So let's put all that other stuff aside for a moment. You have to be
Yeah.
able to bracket sometimes your feelings. You want to be able to hear a person and try to understand what their frame of reference is and where they're coming from. But
Hmm.
also, especially at a time of loss like that, you might want to bracket some of that.
Yeah.
Um, because you'll have the rest of your life to work it out with your siblings.
Yeah, yeah. And then she was just saying like how her husband had literally, because he was saying, how did he put it? He phrased it that he was her relief. I said, are you sure you was her relief, or were you her punching bag? Because it sounded like if she was dealing with all this and literally, and y'all like, she said there were times he would lock her out the bedroom, and they were just like, it was a rough go of it. So I'm like, maybe you
Mhm.
were the source of her frustration to some degree, because she said I just didn't like him. But I think some of that was just dealing with all the stuff that was going on, a new environment, getting her son adjusted, her
Mhm.
mom after short not too long after she moved there
Mhm.
passing away, and then not having a job. She said I wasn't working, and I and the jobs that she was getting wasn't paying her what she was making here in Detroit. So
Mhm.
like, yeah, it's kind of help us explain like how do you counsel people who going through something similar? What do you tell them?
I would probably
I don't
I
know,
would
it's hard
probably
because you don't have the couple here to get
yeah, and I don't
everything.
have
Yeah.
them and or their but I think I would probably work with the wife to find
Mm-hmm.
out, well, first work with her through some of the beginning stages of loss and grief. Grief and loss. There is no beginning and there is no end, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we can smooth the edges of it in particular ways, right? So
Okay.
I would try to help to be there to listen to her through the grief that she was feeling, which
Mm-hmm.
is probably a lot of what was coming out in that marriage,
Okay.
right? She was grieving the loss of her mom
Mm-hmm.
and the
Who she
person that
said she
she.
talked to, who she said, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
Mhm.
who she said she talked to literally every day when she left.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that is a tremendous loss on her part, right? For
Mm-hmm.
her. And he is probably the closest thing to the mom, well, other than siblings, right? But the
Yeah.
person that's right there with her. And
Mm-hmm.
so, yes, he is going to get and got the brunt of it. But what
Yeah.
we have to try to do is remember to keep our own stuff as, as much as we can, our stuff, and work through it. Yes,
What do you mean?
our partners are there to help us through things, but
Mm-hmm.
we also have to remember to be kind, the same way that you're kind with people at work for the
Mm-hmm.
most part. I'm not
Yeah.
saying all of the time because you're in relationships, right?
Right.
But for the most part, if you can remember to be kind, talk to them with kindness.
Mm-hmm.
The same way that you wouldn't go to your job and let somebody have it,
Right.
right?
Well,
So,
not all of us.
right, not all of us, but for the most part,
Right, right. I get it.
try to be kind to your partner as well. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that your partner's not going to get it sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
because we also recognize, especially in loving relationships, that that person is going to be there and that person recognizes that I'm going through something. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, please forgive me, but I got to let this out.
Right. I gotta let this out. And I think as when you're in a relationship and your partner, and you say, and the partner says to you, well, why are you taking it out on me? But and then you respond, well, you're the closest thing to me. And it's not so like I don't know, like when that happens, like what is that when you say, oh well, you're the closest thing to me? I'm not, it's not my intention to take it out on you, but you're the closest thing to me. I'm not mad at
You're the
you.
closest thing to me, but like I said, you're also the person that I realize is not going to run,
Okay.
can kind of hold the emotion that I'm having right now.
Okay.
So you can hold it better than strangers on the street, definitely better than my job, who will fire me if I came in and did this
Right.
kind of behavior, right?
Yeah.
So, but we still want to be kind.
Got you.
I kill them with kindness as
Right.
much as you can. So if my
Okay.
partner is going through something and I recognize that she is, then I can point that out and say, I hear that you're having a really, really hard time right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I truly don't believe that what it is that you are saying is
It's directed
really
at me.
directed at me. And
Yeah.
I understand that. And it's kind of
Yeah.
sometimes that's enough to bring people back into focus. Like, okay, you're right.
Right.
You
Yeah.
are just the person that's here that's the closest to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
We recognize that our partners, I mean, they're a lot of times our best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And your best friend's not going anywhere, even if you are being an ass sometimes.
This is true. This is true. Yeah, yeah, this
Yeah.
is true. Yeah. It was amazing though that, and then he said he was going through a bout of depression,
Mm-hmm.
because he used to be a former Michigan football player. And then because I asked her, I said, did you recognize what that he was going through depression at the time? She said, back then, no, I didn't know what that looked like, but now I would. She said, but I used to ask him, was he okay? Because he was out of his normal routine of what he would do. So, and then I want to say he didn't make pro. I'm assuming he must have tried out and didn't make it, but a lot of his friends were in the NFL and stuff, so they would go and visit them. But I think because she said he would never watch football, but he would occasionally go to a game, but he would never watch it on TV.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, dealing with the depression, and I didn't like they mentioned that towards the middle of our conversation, him dealing with the depression, her leaving the support system, getting their kid, the loss. It
Mm-hmm.
was just a lot of going. I was amazed at how resilient they were in order to
Mm-hmm.
make it to 28 years, because it'll be 28 years for them this year, they said.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
See, and the thing is that depression has it has so many different faces, right? A lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times for men, depression shows up as anger,
Mm.
right? So anger and resentment, and because I don't know how else to express it, that's what comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Depression can show up as sleeping, oversleeping or undersleeping,
Okay.
not sleeping enough. Depression
Mm-hmm.
can show up as overeating or not eating enough.
Okay.
Depression can show up in just not having any kind of desire to do anything, kind of
Mm.
vegetating
Okay.
a bit too much,
Okay.
right? Because we all deserve to vegetate every now and then,
Right.
right? But vegetating to the point where you're not getting those activities of daily living done that are important.
That important. Yeah.
Not taking care of yourself physically is can be a sign of depression.
Right. And she said, well, she didn't say it, but he did. He was like, he felt like he used the word resentment, but he didn't want again didn't all the way go there for no, I'm sorry, that was something else. He did use it. Well, what it was, she was still mad at him about they had a couples date,
Mm-hmm.
and the wives went someplace and all the guys went someplace else. This when they came here to visit, I guess. No,
Mm-hmm.
they went to I want to say Canton or something. But anyway, she calls her husband and says, "Hey, the ladies are done. We're gonna head back y'all way. Can we come?" Just as a matter of respect, not knowing that he was gonna say, no.
No.
Why did he do that? So so they head back anyway. All the other wives, hey, got the okay from their husband. They all head back over there. She said she walked in that room. She didn't say nothing to him, and she has held on. Now this would happen several years ago. So he said this is a constant bone of contention in their relationship. Like she will not let it go. She said that's why I don't come home with him, and not to mention his sister. His sister really had a problem with her. Like she was fake because he has a child outside of before they got together, so he had another child
Mm-hmm.
before they hooked up. And his older sister just was not feeling the wife. Just no,
Mm-hmm.
I mean the wife. She was a baby mama, but anyway, she just was not feeling her. And I asked her, I said, well, what happened? Like she's like, I don't know. She didn't like me. And literally she said, really, they start really somewhat getting along in the last 5 years. And the husband kind of pushed back on that a little bit, but she was like, no, I really feel that way. We really just literally started getting along in the last 5 years. I bring that up to say, when you're newly married and then you don't get along with I'm gonna say your in-laws, because it could be the mom, the dad, the sister, brother, whoever.
Mm-hmm.
How do you navigate that? Because her issue was he never addressed that with his big sister. She really like that really ate her, and I think it's still bothering her today. He never addressed that.
Yeah. I think as married people, we have to show up as a unit sometimes,
Okay.
and the Bible tells you to leave your family and cleave on to your spouse,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I think that there is probably, and I don't know their situation, but
Mm-hmm.
some room for conversation, especially if all these years later he's saying I didn't see it and she's saying no, this is actually what was happening all of this time. Where was the conversation? And they might have had it and just never came to an understanding that your sister really, really don't like me.
Mm-hmm.
But it might have been helpful for him to take his wife's side, um, or at least address it with his sister. He knows his
Mm-hmm.
sister.
Yeah.
And it could be as easy as just a conversation. Hey, what's going on between you and Margaret?
Mm-hmm.
It seems like every time you guys are together, there's this bit of tension. Tell me
Mm-hmm.
about it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
With your sibling, and that might be just enough for your sibling to I'm gonna use the words snap out of it,
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, no one has to like the person that I'm with, but they do need to respect the person that I'm with,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if
Right.
we
And I
show
know
up at the house, then you
right.
need to treat her like she's your sister-in-law.
Exactly. And she was mentioning that like their when they got married, the sister had a problem with the fact that she wasn't in the marriage, but the the wife said, well, hey, she didn't like me. We weren't friends. And I'm the oldest of five sisters. I got sisters, girlfriends. And so she told him, like, let her stand up on your side. I was like, I didn't even know that was a thing. When I got married, one of my female friends is like, she's really like a best friend. She's like my sister. Matter of fact, we interviewed with the couple I mentioned earlier, Sonya and June.
Mm-hmm.
I felt so bad because I didn't know at the time when I got married, she could have actually stood up on my side, as a groomswoman. I didn't know that. So I felt bad. She was mad at me. She wasn't mad. She was mad, but not mad, but she was mad. But I didn't know that that's the thing that could happen. So I told people, I said, hey, and I'll say this again, guys, if you're getting married and you have a female best friend and she's not on the bride side, she can stand up on your side. That is a thing. And I had no idea that was a thing.
Yeah. So how long have you been married, Al?
I'll be 5 years this year.
Right. So yeah, I think that these are newer nuances to marriage. But one of the
Oh,
things that when I got married decided was that it can be any way that I want it to be. It's a celebration between the two of us. I can
right.
make it look like anything I want it to look like.
Okay.
We had no one stand up because
Yeah.
I didn't want to burden anyone
Okay.
with having to buy. And I also didn't want to corral anybody buying dresses, buying suits,
Right.
having the right color, any of those things.
Okay.
Nobody,
Yeah.
nobody, just the two of us.
So truly, you could just whatever you wanted it to be. It's your wedding.
Whatever you
Yeah,
want
you
it to
want it to
be,
be.
it is your
Okay.
wedding, and you can make it look like whatever it is that is in your mind what makes your day special,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So if you want to put a little suit thing on your little dog and have your dog walk down the aisle with the rings, then you can do whatever you
You can
want.
do whatever you want.
Whatever you
Absolutely.
want. It's
Yeah.
your day.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And to our audience, this episode is definitely going to be short. I just wanted to kind of touch base with Brooke about some things that I was like, man, I sure wish she was here today because there were some things we really wanted to unpack. But I'm so glad you were still able to come on and we were
Mm-hmm.
able to have this episode. And to the couple to the couples I'm referring to in this, um, I'm sure I didn't give Brooke full context of everything that was going on. So in fairness, please forgive me if I may have misquoted some things. It wasn't my intention, just trying to give her a little bit of background on what I did know and the information I did gather,
Mm-hmm.
so she can kind of break it down for anybody who's watching this and maybe in similar situations. So I do want to
Mm-hmm.
also, just apologize to those couples if I didn't quite get everything correct.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely appreciate it, Brooke. It was like I said, you would have enjoyed them. They were, when I tell you, they were hilarious. So they were, and you'll probably have to go and check out the channel and watch the episode. It's Otis and Kim Williams. So
Okay,
she
okay.
was saying, she mentioned something about, this was the funniest part. She said she was mentioning something about if she, because I was asking them what does has their definition of marriage changed, and she talked about her dad and how she loved her father so, but he wasn't good to her mom, and like
Hmm.
she didn't really have a good
Role
um
model. She didn't
role
have a
model for
good.
marriage, exactly, except
Mhm.
for her mom's her I want to say her mother's parents.
Mhm.
They married until the day they died. She says they were, her really hilarious. But anyway, with her dad, with her being the oldest, he kept her around. She saw a lot of stuff that he did to her mom that she really wasn't happy with. And she said her dad used to always tell her, like, hey, don't marry no nigga like me. She was like, I don't want one like you. I promise you I don't. And but she dated guys like her dad. Well, she
Yep.
said, she said, yeah, that's what she said. I dated guys like my dad, but it was never going to be anything serious because I knew I didn't want that. But
Yeah.
I say all that to say, when you don't have a good role, no, that's what I'm sorry. What I was saying is that what the funny part was, she was saying that she would never get married again. She don't think she would, because she didn't think she would get married this time. I mean, to her
Hmm.
husband, but she said she would never get married again. And then her husband was like, well, no, you just have to groom someone into what you wanted to be. She was like, I tried that with you.
Yeah, and that
Oh,
didn't work.
they
Right.
said she said it didn't work, and look where we at. No, but they have a really great marriage. I really love them as a couple. They get along
Hmm.
well. They came on the show with their king and queen t-shirts. So I was like, oh, y'all came to represent. So
Yeah.
they showed up in full force, very transparent. You definitely have to check out the episode. It was
Yeah.
a little long. It went over,
Yeah.
but very great couple. Amazing to talk to you. Would have definitely enjoyed. We really missed you. They were absolutely amazing. Very transparent.
Mhm.
And just, I mean, they said stuff that only 28 years would afford you to say.
Yeah,
And I was like,
absolutely.
and I applauded them for that, and was comfortable with it. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
really comfortable with it.
Mhm.
28 years afforded them to be able to say some of the things that they said, on the show, and very
Because they
transparent.
know that neither of them are going anywhere, right? We're in this for the long haul. We understand
Mm-hmm.
each other. And one thing about marriages and relationships is that there is no formula. There's some things that can make it smoother, perhaps,
Mm-hmm.
but there is no real formula to your marriage. I
Okay.
mean, what works for the two of you is what you should do.
Okay.
Right. So if the two of you are into whatever the two of you are into,
Me too.
that's what you need to do within your marriage. And you talked about he said you need to groom someone to be who it is. Yeah, things can change a little bit over the years,
Yeah.
but ultimately you need to marry somebody that if nothing changes with them, nothing changes. If they stay that same way from now to the end of time, you love them.
You love
Right.
them.
You
Yeah.
don't want to marry possibility because that breeds resentment and
Yes.
disappointment.
Yes.
Because I can have great plans for what you gonna be, right? I need to have great plans for what I'm going to be and
Hmm.
make myself the best person that I can be
The
and
best
bring
version of
that to the
yourself. Yeah.
relationship,
Yeah.
right? You
Yeah.
bring that, you bring your best self, I bring my best self,
Hmm.
but I love you just as you are. If nothing else change, if you stay in that same job from now to the end, then we're good,
I
right?
need to love you
Because
no matter what. There you
yeah,
go. Yeah.
that's how I found you. So that's how I'm gonna keep you if that's how you're gonna stay, right?
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, like I said, this was definitely going to be short. I really appreciate it, Brooke. I thank you for coming on and giving us your time, giving us your
Mhm.
insight on the subject matter at hand. As always, as usual, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. It's good to see you.
Okay,
Yeah,
good. I want to mention my practice is
yeah,
Aspire to.
absolutely. Yeah, I'm sorry, I kind of got off on a tangent. Yeah,
It's
please.
okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Brooke Brantley Gilbert. I'm the founder and owner of Aspire to Wellness Counseling. My phone number 248-579-5576. Individual and couple and marriage counseling. So
Any social media platforms, Brooke?
I do not yet. I'm not a social media
Hey,
person. I know I need to. I've got all of the workings to do it, but I'm not
I
taking
need you
that
to
on.
at the very least get you an Instagram page, because that's
Hmm.
what a lot of the younger and older generation does go to Instagram. They on TikTok now, but at least get you an Instagram page. And then, like I said, I can always when I put my postings, especially on YouTube, if people want to look you up, they can find you there. I can put both your information on here. So make sure let's get you an Instagram page.
Okay.
All right, cool. Yep. So hopefully the next time we meet, which will probably be soon, I need you to get you an Instagram page. I'm gonna be texting you like, Brooke, did you do it? Did you do it?
I know it's Instagram. All you gotta do is like sign up. I probably do have Instagram, but it's not under my business name. So
okay, yeah. So yeah, when you get a chance, let's go ahead and get that so we can definitely make sure we tag and shout you out in that aspect as well, and then we can follow one another on Instagram. Well, it has been a pleasure as always. We want to thank everybody for coming on, watching the show. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And Miss Brooke, you enjoy the rest of your day. It looks like it's going to be pretty nice outside today.
Yes. I'm about to head out there now.
Okay. All right. You have a great day. Thank you. I'll see you soon.
All right. You take care.
All right. Thanks, Brooke. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, so that was another episode of Black Marriage Chronicles. It's funny now. Actually, that wasn't an episode of Black Marriage Chronicles. That was, I'm going to call that the trainer's take? No. I'm thinking in the form of fitness. That was the counselor's take. Yeah, the counselor's take. The counselor's corner. I don't know. Anyway, that was just an episode with the therapist corner, or the therapist take. I don't know, whichever one you guys decide. What do you like? Therapist take, therapist corner? Let me know. Leave your comments down below. In the meantime, I'm going to leave you in peace.